For the longest time, I was fascinated with hood mentality. Those men and even boys, like 16-year-old boys, that would go out and sell drugs and actually fucking kill people. I was always fascinated by their bravery. I always thought myself, how can a guy younger than me pick up a gun and go on a shootout? That's so fucking dangerous. How doesn't he get anxious, etc., etc.? I always thought I was a bitch because I was not at that level. And I truly felt like a bitch. It really did a number on my head and my mentality. And recently I understood what the deal is. And it's very simple and it's not that sexy, but it will forever change how you look at life. It will forever change how you look yourself as a man. So the deal with hood mentality is that you do not care if you live or if you die. And that does not mean that you do shit like just because it is dangerous, you do it for a reason. But in the set of possibilities is clearly death or penitentiary for life. And you still do it. How do those people do it? Well, it's very simple. When you are a 16-year-old that has been brought up in an environment where your life is almost predetermined to be shit, and your only way out is to be that crazy motherfucker that's going to rule the street and he's going to create a gang and he's going to sell a bunch of drugs, it makes sense because that's your possibilities. Like it's either a life of being a slave or fuck it, I'm going to take the chance and I might lose my life. I might go to jail for a long, long time, but it's the only thing I got to do. There's no other option. At least that's in their head. I'm not saying there is no other option, but that is what they're thinking. And when that clicked in my head, it all made sense. Because yes, if my possibilities were the same, if the only thing I could do was be the criminal, then I would be the criminal. Then I would do all that brave shit that disregards death. And a huge burden lifted off my shoulders when I realized that. When I realized that I'm not a bitch for not doing all these crazy things. It is just that I have better possibilities in life. So, for example, if you're watching this, you can probably just get your phone, get a laptop, and create, for example, a business online, side hustle, whatever. Make very good money. That's what I'm doing now. Not with this YouTube channel, but I've got an online business. It's doing very good. I don't need to go out there and, like, in Greece, you sell, like, for example, weed. You make like 10, 15, 20, $30 per trade. I don't need to do that. I don't need to risk going to jail because weed here is illegal for making like 100 or $200 a night. Doesn't make sense. I can make that every day with a legit fucking online business. Can make a lot more than that. So what's the point? There's no point. The same holds true with getting into fights and being that man that always fights. Yeah, if I was brought up in the street and my street cred was the most important thing to me because that respect really works out there on the streets. Because only thing you got is your name, then I would get into fights constantly. But right now, if I get into a random fight with a random guy for a random reason, just to get a bit of respect, I can really fuck up my life. And that is a trade I don't want to take. But that does not take away from the fact that if that was my life and my respect was 100x more important to me, the respect I would get on the streets, then of course I would fight. And that probably holds true for you too. Like imagine if the only thing you could do is gain respect out there and then sell a bunch of fucking drugs or pimp out your girlfriend. Motherfucker, I would do that. Allegedly. No, I wouldn't do that. Believe me. But yeah, you would do that. You would do that. Not me. I'm a legitimate citizen. I would never do anything illegal. But you would do it. You would go out there and pimp your girlfriend and sell a bunch of drugs and get into a bunch of fights to get some respect. And that's fucking great because it shows that under the right circumstances, you would be the right man. But right now, you have very different circumstances, and the ROI of doing all this, it is just not worth it. So do not feel bad for not being that street kid because there's no point for you to be a street kid. There's much better things to do right now. There's a lot more money to be made, a lot more beautiful, and not only beautiful, better quality girls to get, better friends to have, etc. That does not mean be a pussy by any stretch of the imagination. You can still go pick up a martial art. You can still go out there and make a bunch of money, have a good physique, have a very loyal and pretty girlfriend. But you don't have to do all the stupid shit that you see people do on rap videos and uh, seeing that kind of life be glorified. It is glorified and it is great for people that don't have other opportunities in life. But if you have other opportunities in life and you really sit down, put your ego aside, and just think, you will understand that the ROI of doing all those things is very bad for you. I've got a friend that still battles with this and he watches the videos, the rap videos, and he pretends he's into that shit and he's really not. That man, like, he will get his degree and he will get a high paying job. He's like clean cut. He has no idea of the street. But, and if you ask him point to point, he would do none of those things. He wouldn't get into the fights. He wouldn't sell the drugs. He wouldn't do shit. Nothing he would do would be legal. But if you ask him, do you like the hood mentality? Would you like to be like that? Do you admire these things? He will say yes. And I can see that burning a hole in his heart, in his soul. Because he feels like a wuss. He feels like a pussy for not doing that shit. You just have to understand that if you were brought up in the jungle, in the actual jungle, maybe you would bite somebody's ear off or gouge somebody's eyes out. You have that in you, like all your ancestors did that when they lived in such environments. And you have that in you. Don't worry. You just don't need it right now.